Blood Hunt has been a Marvel-wide event with Blade and his army of vampires taking over the Marvel Universe. We have been covering the main story here on the channel, but today we have 3 tie-ins that Benny had recorded earlier this year, but had not yet been made into videos. These are the Black Panther, Wolverine, and Midnight Suns tie-ins. These take place between issues 2 and 3 of the main Blood Hunt story, which I will link down below. And, of course, you are here at the Comicstorian Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand, then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel's text and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. I hope you enjoy.
Deep inside of the jungle, Black Panther finds himself returning to his roots, but not as its savior, but as the Rot. Bloodlust and possession have clouded his judgment for far too long. Blade has transformed him into one of those mindless vampires. The spirits tell him that he carries the demon with him, that he has defiled the lands. Black Panther shouts that he has come seeking help, that he has come to protect the people of Wakanda. The spirits attack, submerging him, yelling that he has brought unto them death. He can tell the demon when he returns that Wakanda will never fall again. As Black Panther's mind fades, he wakes up alone in the temple of Bast, just as he was, still carrying the vampire's curse, Blade's gift to him. He had come seeking, shamefully, the means to be freed from Blade's hold, but instead of being Bast's champion, he has become her obligation. But as the temple guards find Blade, they attack. They must not let Black Panther free after ingesting the heart-shaped herb. Black Panther can hear the rush of blood fueling them. He can feel each of their heartbeats unfolding into tantalizing percussion that entices him to feed upon them. But he has yet to taste the blood of a human. Black Panther manages to get ahead of the guards, but it is something that they call to him that stops him. They call him the imposter. He takes off his mask, shouting, "Who are you to chase the one with royal blood as if he were an animal? I am your king, and you will stand down." Suddenly, the guards drop their weapons, obeying his commands. It only takes a few moments, but Black Panther realizes that they did not listen to him because he told them to. It was his newfound abilities as a vampire that gave him sway over them, the powers of influence. This should prove useful when engineering the Blood Coven's defeat. Later, in the golden city that is Burnin Zana, Black Panther watches over trying to come up with a plan to fight the vampiric urges back when Blade appears telling him that he will begin locating the temple ruins as instructed. The longer that he waits, the more Wakanda will suffer. Maybe choosing him was a mistake. Black Panther leaps off the roof telling him that it was, but as he lands, he finds himself face to face with the mother of pestilence, the Adaze. When the demon feasts on the humans, Black Panther attacks, shouting that she will pay for what she has done, and the Adaze smacks him away, yelling to leave her be. Black Panther returns with a strike of his own, sending the demon fleeing, and in their wake, he sees the blood dripping from a woman's throat. Soon the hunger begins to set in, and Black Panther opens his mouth. But before he can bite down, a voice tells him to stop, holding a knife to his throat. Black Panther glares back. The knife was unnecessary. Shuri's voice alone has enough of an effect to return his humanity, if even for a moment. She takes the blade, cutting her palm, letting Black Panther drink human blood. Her blood is as if it was ambrosia, intoxicating. Soon Black Panther breaks away, seeing the look of pity in Shuri's eyes. He has had enough. However, he tells her that another twisted voice is telling him that he may have, but he still hungers. The woman that he was about to bite rises up, but before she could attack, Shuri uses her UV lights and subdues her. Shuri begins to wrap her hand, stating that she sometimes wonders if their retreat from isolation was a mistake. But she may have a solution to their problem. All she'll need is the assistance of an Avenger But as Shuri looks back, Black Panther has quietly retreated. There is still work to do, demons of the night to stop, and they were not prepared for this. He was not prepared. Without the sun, the only weapons aside from claws and swords are UV spotlights. It wasn't the best, but they served their purpose. While the city is overrun with a horde of darkness, a darkness that he is now a part of, he will still continue to defend it. But even he has his limits, especially fighting back the desire to feed. As Black Panther collapses into an alleyway, Blade appears once more, calling him pathetic. He will accept and recognize the gift that he was given. Black Panther lashes out, shouting that he is not like him. But as he swipes through the projection and falls over, Blade scoffs, telling him that he will obey, or they will see how much pain a man can endure when denied the relief of death. Do not test me, Panther! Either find the temple that your gods have hidden from me, or I will raise Wakanda myself. Soon, Shuri reaches out over their comms, telling him that they must work together to defeat this, that she has been evacuating those that can help rebuild. The Dark Force has yet to penetrate Latveria's borders. Perhaps Doom could, but Black Panther stops her, telling him, I will not go to him for aid. I am a king and I will save my people. Shuri says that he was a king and now he's not even capable of ruling himself. Black Panther rips off his communicator in frustration, telling her that she is right. His body is no longer his own. The bloodlust reverberates within him. The longer he remains here, the more danger he will bring. Eventually, he will become the monster that he is fighting against. The only way to protect his people is to return to exile, to resign himself to where the demon belongs, the wilderness. As he moves through the brush, the bloodlust abates, allowing him to no longer act as a predator, but now the prey. And once again, he must come face to face with his namesake. No matter how far he strays, as sure as Sanfoka, he ends up back where he began. The world has been plunged into darkness. Wolverine watches the news on the TV at the bar, which is shockingly empty. But he shrugs, pouring himself another pint of free beer, waiting for his friend. He turns as the door opens. There you are, Wolverine. We've been looking for you. A voice calls out. Wolverine turns to see a squad of soldiers, rifles already aimed and ready, fangs bared. Not his friend. Yeah, who's we, bub? Wolverine growls as he pulls on his mask, popping his claws, leaping into the fight. He slashes the throat of the first vamp, but pauses as the monster drops, blood dripping from his claws. He knows these young men just wanted to serve their country, not become these monsters. He hesitates. Freak's an animal! Just remember what the boss said, Muti's got a healing factor. Don't waste time turning him. One of them says, shouting as he fires a handgun into Logan's gut. Logan doubles over from the wound, his hesitation disappearing. He moves fast, growling with rage, as he slashes at another's throat, leaping away, dodging over the pool table as gunfire fills the bar. Chunks of wood and felt fly through the air as Logan grabs a pool cue, breaking it apart. He leaps across the room with another roar of rage, stabbing another of the vampires. He then whirls around fast, his claws slashing through a rifle and then the throat of another vamp. One leaps at him, tackling him through a window, sending him to the ground. Fry him! The soldier shouts, and Logan struggles to his feet, but feels as the soldiers hit him with an electromagnetic beam, frying his insides, burning up his adamantium skeleton. He bellows with rage as his skin begins to boil. Keep cooking him! Don't stop! Bring the damn chains! A soldier shouts. The soldiers move forward, prepared to capture their prey, but the emitter suddenly explodes. The soldiers turn in surprise, but arrows are now flying through the air, stabbing them in the heart and head. Logan's skin begins to heal almost immediately, and he looks up in surprise. Took you long enough. I'm sorry, but I must disagree. It appears to me that I've arrived just in time, mon ami. Louise says with a smile, shouldering her combat crossbow. Logan shakes his head, leading her back into the bar, where he pours himself another drink. Louise bares her fangs, looking at the destruction around them. It is quite fascinating, my friend, how so much death and destruction seems to always follow you, she says with a smile, looking at Logan, asking how she can help. Logan explains that it started a few days ago. He was killing time in a casino in Vegas when the vampires started attacking people, but then a few looked at him and actually knew his name. Looks like your luck's run out, Logan, the vampire security guard said before launching an attack against Logan. Logan had killed them quickly before heading outside, shocked to find the sky was darkened. More of the vampires attacking him, and Logan had managed to escape, putting in the call to his friend Jeff Bannister. What the hell's going on, Jeff? Logan had demanded. Jeff explained that the vampires had gotten a hold of some Dark Force users and blocked out the sun, starting their own little uprising. After hanging up with Jeff, Logan had put a call into Luis. I wanted to tap into your vampire expertise. Fight fire with fire, Logan explains, pointing out how he picked this remote bar, though he wasn't sure how the vampire soldiers found him. Luis ponders for a moment. So both the soldiers and the casino guards seem to be seeking you out specifically. Do you have any idea why? She asks, but Logan shrugs his shoulders. No clue. I'm hoping my guy can help with that. As if on cue, Jeff calls Logan over the comms, explaining that the National Guard vampires were from a unit that seems to be driving in a convoy to somewhere in Long Beach. Logan then thanks Jeff, and he and Luis head outside to their bikes. Come on, Night Guard. Time to go hunting. The two of them drive through the dark night, but as they round a corner, they are stopped by a missile flying through the air, striking the ground in front of them, throwing them both clear. The mercs move forward, their weapons at the ready. Who the hell is this? One asks as he tows Luis, his friend shrugging. Don't know. Waste her if she ain't dead already. But Logan springs to his feet, charging at them, his claws slashing through the mercs as his rage allows him to ignore the gunfire. As the two guards turn away from her body, she springs up, stabbing one of them in the chest, smiling, waving at the other, baring her fangs. The mercs are down in a matter of moments. You okay? Logan asks as he turns it back to her. She nods as she pulls her sword clear of one of the mercs. Oui, merci. You are no longer the only one of us able to heal quickly, she says with a smile, when suddenly Logan's comms crackle to life. Bannister! Guess again, Maverick says. Logan begins to cuss out his old frenemy, recognizing the mercs' uniforms. What the hell, Mav? Bunch of your guys just ambushed me on this 710. Maverick admits that he knows, as he was the one who sent them. Figures. Who's wasting the dough trying to kill me this time? But Maverick explains that there's been a shift in power. He sent them there so that they could get proof of concept for his new partners. You think sending bloodsuckers after me is an effective recruiting tool? Suddenly, more mercs come out of the darkness, vehicles and weapons encircling Logan and Luis. I've built an alliance and an army. Now I just need my very own weapon of mass destruction. You, Logan, Maverick says. Logan growls as Luis prepares for a fight. You know what they say. If you can't beat them, join them, Maverick says over the radio, baring his fangs as he listens to the vampires closing in. A nightmare. That's what this is. A cold yet burning nightmare. Where is this? Nowhere. This is a dream. None of it is real. None of it is real. At least that's what Blade is telling himself. Later at a remote diner, Blade is called upon his vampire hunting squads. He asks if they're all there, and the commander tells him yes. When Blade calls, they come. He said that it was important. Blade stands up, drawing his sword, and the commander asks him what is wrong. Blade tells him, there's something here. And he stabs the man in the throat. With another swing, heads are severed, bodies lay out. Blade has slaughtered everyone. He pulls his sword out of the last member of the squad, and he says something is here. A tear rolling down his face. Later in Arizona, Danny Ketch shoots at a line of bottles on a fence when a voice calls out to him. He turns, pointing the gun at the woman. Easy there. She tells him that her name is Tulip and they have mutual friends. She explains what just happened with Blade, and Danny finds that odd. That doesn't sound like Blade. Well, Blade's capable of a lot of things. After his time with Dracula, he's capable of even more. But he wouldn't hurt his own people. So I've come seeking help from you. Danny asks how does she think the Ghost Rider works, and she tells him that she has no idea how it works. And honestly, she doesn't give a damn. Reckless and abandoned with what's going on, they need cowboys. Danny tells her that trust is very important to him, both versions of him. He's going to want to know what she is hiding. So she finishes her beer and says that she figured. No sooner than does the bottle hit the table, than Ghost Rider makes his entrance, throwing the table aside. Look at me! He begins to stare into her, and soon Tulip begins to scream. Later, she wakes up in a bed as someone says that they heard that she liked tea and got it from the gas station. Don't expect much. She sits up, stating that he must be Johnny Blaze. Not much of a flaming skull guy anymore? Johnny tells her no. He just shoots hellfire out of a shotgun these days. Tulip asks what happened, so Johnny explains that she received the penance stare. It's all the pain that she ever caused. Tulip sighs, stating that that explains why she passed out. She's been a bad girl. And Johnny shrugs. Yeah, I've been worse. Woke up next to worse. You're just the run-of-the-mill traumatized and hiding it with attitude. So Tulip asks if they're going to help or not. Johnny tells her, yeah. He and Blade, they go way back. Outside, Danny is vomiting, and Tulip asks what's wrong with him. Danny goes on explaining that his other half shares the things that he has seen, and he catches glimpses of other people's lives. Puking helps get it out. but he's sorry about what happened to her father. Tulip stops. Wait, you saw that? Danny waves it off, stating forget he said anything, but before he can help her, they need to do something first. He reaches down, pulling out a tarp, revealing a set of metal doors, and as he opens it, the lights flicker on. Inside, Tulip finds a well-armed bunker, and Danny explains that him and Johnny could use a third, so she needs to pick out something, and once they're finished, they're gonna go see Blade. Later, an armored convoy is begun to drive across the desert, and once they get within range, Danny tells Tulip to open fire. She fires an RPG, hitting the first truck, causing it to fly backwards, knocking over the transport. Men then begin to get out with guns, and Johnny opens fire with his shotgun, taking them out. As one of the men escape, Tulip jumps down asking why is she killing vampire mercenaries. Johnny explains to her that they needed to make sure that she could, but also some companies are cashing in on things pouring out of the Dark Force dimension. He and Danny are out here watching their routes so that they can, but as soon as Johnny reaches for the door, a tentacle whips out, grabbing Tulip by the throat and begins to speak in a demonic language. Johnny shoots the tendril to free her, yelling that she needs to get back. But before Tulip barely has a chance to get to her feet, Ghost Rider speeds by, slamming into the transport, destroying the monster within. Meanwhile, later over in Iraq, Victoria Montesi meets with a possessed shaman, and he asks why is she here. To rid him of these lands, to free its people? She tells him that she has come to end the suffering of these people, and the old man begins laughing, asking, "Didn't your father teach you? Life is suffering. You know, I was enjoying my time here inside of this body, dragging my white-hot claws across the inside of this withered man. He screams, of course. Would you like to see his fear and pain?" Soon the demon loosens his grip, letting the man inside return, and immediately he begins to scream, begging for help. Victoria says that she can help him, but the demon returns, stating, "No, you won't. You're low magic. It can do nothing." So Victoria pulls out a knife from her bag, stating that she was made from evil, and that is why evil will come to know her well. The demon asks, "What? Are you going to cut me out? You can take your time. Fillet him from layer to layer until you find me glistening. Embrace your nature." Victoria makes a small cut on her palm, stating that her nature has changed, and that she isn't playing fair anymore. As the blood drips onto the ground, a red light begins to shine, and the demon asks, what is she doing? Soon a hand reaches out of the ritual circle, and a woman pulls herself out, telling the demon that he knows her name, and now say it. The demon begins to stutter, trying to get the word out. Lilith! Moments later, Victoria steps out of the cave with people surrounding us, stating that he will need medical attention, and they're all free, by the way. A little time passes, and Victoria sits for a drink when someone begins to sit next to her, and she tells him that he is a long way from home. Johnny takes his seat, stating that he needs to ask her a question. He needs her to answer. She looks at him. "You want my help killing Blade?" "No, I want your help confronting Blade. Understand what is happening. I didn't say kill yet." Victoria tells him that he didn't have to. She foresaw this. And if he is what he seems to have become, it'll take the Midnight Suns to defeat him.
And there you have it, 3 Blood Hunt tie-ins read to you by Benny. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out our videos for the main event here on the channel. But what did you guys think? Let me know down below. Like, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.